And Michael is on Zoom.
Mhm.
Great. Well, let's just, oh, and your microphones, to speak, so it picks up on Zoom and,
Just push.
yeah, push and then have it be a couple inches away, not too far, but not too
I'll
close.
do this. Do this.
Okay.
Hey, okay. Oh,
Usually loud enough to carry over anyways.
All right, let's bring this meeting to order, please. It looks like 3:04. Clerk Flintoff, could you call roll, please?
Carrie,
Present.
Flintoff, present, Brabant, D'Angelo,
present.
Dorney, Harms,
Aye.
Yeaple,
Present.
all here.
Okay, so we are here for a special meeting, which was posted, and this is the agenda pretty much explains what's this meeting is about, different articles of incorporation, review, MOUs, different things like that, powers and duties. And we'll also have our reports from our engineer, operations, and finance. So before that, if there's anything that regarding adoption of the agenda, is there anything to include or change or just a motion to adopt?
I'd make a motion to adopt as presented.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? None, motion passes. Now, I do have some, I just handed out additions and Clerk Flintoff as well. There's, oh, Mike, did you hand out the memorandum that you had found?
Oh.
Just for reference, I guess, for future, while we're all here?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not yet, no.
Oh, okay, whenever you're ready. There's correspondences from Neil Girl. The bills, G2, that I just handed out updated bills that Michael just sent. I7, M&K cleaning, televising and cleaning quote. J3, cash receipting. There's an agreement and a couple of other documents. And then J6 is Wood Hill pay recommendation. Oh, I have a copy already. Anyways, let's move on to public comment, and we have just one person present. So this is the time for members of the public to speak to the LASA board for up to 5 minutes on any matter.
Good afternoon, Kathleen Grant, Iowa resident. I had a couple of questions on J10. I did not understand where the document came from for duties and responsibilities. The document is titled Updated Proposal from LASA Operating Committee Responsibility. I don't know what the date was. I don't know where that came from. So if you could say where it came from, that would be nice. And also on J7 seems to be duplicative of J6. Seems like it should have been included there, but that's just fine. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody online, please raise your hand. Cohen's iPhone, followed by Ron Pattinson. Cohen's iPhone.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. My name is Lucy Cohen, a Loch Alpine resident for over 30 years, and currently serving on the Loch Alpine board as treasurer. I am addressing my concerns about the restated Articles of Incorporation and would like to urge the LASA board to not only carefully review and discuss the proposed changes, but also share this information more broadly. to get feedback from LASA's customers before voting. I am especially concerned with one proposed change, eliminating the Loch Alpine representation on the LASA board, representation that has been in the current articles for over 50 years and reaffirmed in 2 subsequent amendments. I have heard that this proposed change has been made because it is not legal, but no further explanation of the law and how it is being interpreted in this instance. Subsequently, a thorough legal review of the Michigan compiled statutes on municipal water and sewer systems did not clarify this particular interpretation. It is important to note that Loch Alpine residents are approximately 80% of LASA's customers, and LASA's plant resides in Loch Alpine. Loch Alpine has a unique relationship with LASA that needs to be maintained and truly improved upon, not diminished in any way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.
Next up is Rob Patton. Rob?
Thank you. Rob Pattinson, Scioto Township resident. On May 6th, we had the sewage flowing through a Loch Alpine basement event. And the insurance and the attorneys said that it would take 90 days to respond to that resident. It's well over 90 days now. And I see that the attorneys and the insurance representative are not there in the audience. So does the board have an update on the status of that homeowner's request for help? Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
I see no other hands.
Okay, thank you. Yes. To answer some questions, the J10, these are historical documents that were found in the minutes of 1997 through 2001. And the chair or the different duties that was also found in historical records. And to answer Rob Pattinson, on August 25th at 3 o'clock, we will, our attorneys will be discussing with the board the outcome of the insurance investigation, which is next Monday already.
Potentially the outcome, correct?
Well, yes, because we don't know, but they asked for us to go into closed session so they could discuss it.
Great.
Yeah, okay, so communications correspondence, as I said, there's one came from Neil Girl. He has I'm sorry, am I saying his last name right? Garrell, I'm sorry. Yeah, so he was the chair of the LASA board for a long time. He was very much involved, and I know he did all kinds of other things. So, and I believe he's still on the operating committee, or he does log in, yeah. So that was very, the history is really important, and he stressed that leadership. Okay. Next is approval of the minutes.
Minutes from our last board meeting of June 16th are presented.
Any proposed changes? Nope,
I didn't think.
nope.
I propose approving the minutes as presented.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Yeaple, support by Harms.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Minutes are approved, adopted. Okay. Next, did I put that? No. All right. There is something that needs to be, I'm sorry, pulled off the consent agenda. It's the air handler replacement quote. And during our capital improvement budget, it was mentioned, I believe Woodhill asked about that. And Brandon, you did not have a quote at that time?
I didn't have a quote at that time.
Okay, so we do have a quote. It is in here. This is something, Brandon, if you could just fill us in on what the air handler, why it's important.
So the air handler is what, in your raw sewage building, it's what recycles the air in the summertime and heats it as well in the wintertime to prevent any pipe freezing or any issues in there, of that, because it's a class 1 Div 1 building, the way they classify it, so that air handler has died. I know I talked about this in previous meetings, and I've reached out to several, one who gave me a previous quote, contractors, and it just so happened I ran into Monroe. Monroe was the only one I could get a quote from that would actually reach back out and give me a quote, which, looking back 2 years ago, I got a quote for replacement as well, but the board at the time opted to just do some repairs to it. They quoted 21,000 back then, and it's pretty close to that same price now. They did recommend to replace some insulation around some ductwork as well, while they were out fixing it.
So I did check with Woodhill about this, and Colleen said that we would need to approve a use of reserve funds.
How much is in the budget for this? I mean, how much over are
Um,
we?
It would, yeah, because I did ask her if it would come from the repair and maintenance portion of the budget, either, I think it was water, I believe. And she said, no, it's not a repair and maintenance, this is a replacement. It should have been under capital improvement, which we just discussed why it wasn't. So she said it would be out of the reserves, and the reserves, well, we have, I looked at it, and yeah, we have like 2 million, I believe, something like that. I mean, we could just, if you'd like, either we can approve this now, or we can wait until we have a meeting on, what was the next one? October 6th.
My only concern with that is he said it'd take about a month to get it, to get set up, if we're
Oh.
getting into cold weather. That would be my.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the budget right
think-
now. Give me a minute. It's a matter of getting to where it was.
And I'm also inclined, given the amount and the recommendation of our operator, I'm inclined to support it, knowing later on in the agenda, we're going to be talking about how we handle approval of the bills and checking against the budget.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, this only has a budget report. It doesn't have a balance sheet, which is frustrating. Give me a minute. Let me see if I can find that.
Yeah, it was in her presentation, I believe. Ted, didn't she have, Colleen have an Excel file and broke it down by capital improvement and then other tabs?
Yeah, it's not in the documents in this packet, unfortunately. I'm looking forward to when we have access to all that information.
I wonder if we might, would it be too much trouble to just table it till our meeting on the 25th? We can just make sure there's enough
Oh.
money in budget and reserve and handle it then?
It's only till Monday.
Yeah,
Be
That's
prudent.
fine.
okay.
Doesn't bother me at all. Just
Okay.
let me know when
Okay,
it's approved and I can get the ball rolling.
I'll make a motion to table G1 till August 25th.
Support.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? None? Motion passes. All right. We'll just have to make a change to the. Okay, thank you. All right. Well, we have the payment of the bills, which we have an updated version just passed out. So, is there a motion to approve the bills, or do you need a little bit more time?
Jillian, just a question. So the updated list of bills you're proposing is dated 8/19/102 AM plus this M and K proposal. I just want to make sure I'm understanding what we're approving.
Oh, no, not the M and K proposal.
Okay, great. Just-
That goes under I1.
Great, thank you.
So it's just the updated 8/19 from Michael.
I just had a question about why we had such an old bill from Woodhill. I do remember they're doing all of that work, but any explanation for that? And
No.
Michael, are
I
you
can give
online
you-
here?
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
ya.
Okay, yes, this was an internal issue with Woodhill Group. Those bills never arrived. I never received them. I don't handle billing on at Woodhill. And
Oh,
they came out as part of the auditing and looking through things, and those were from, I think, VEPO, the metering. They're pretty clear as what we did. I apologize for their delay, but that's why. And
okay. Thank you.
if you have any questions about any of them, I'm here to answer anything. I know what I've done in the last year, so.
Okay. Just to be clear, there is one M and K invoice within the bills that is different than the quote for the valve turning the work proposal that I just passed out.
Mhm.
So they're two separate. Okay.
Right, there's one bill for M&K for 1,500, the other one's a proposal, and that's anything in my bill run was just that old M&K invoice.
Thanks, Michael.
You're welcome.
I'd make a motion to approve the bills as presented. The bills listed 8/19/2025 at 1:02 AM.
Is there support?
I support the motion to approve the bills.
Okay, everybody ready? I see that the members are still reading. Tony, you finished? Okay. All in favor for the approval of the bills, payment of the bills, say aye.
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 Oppose? None? Bills are approved. 7-0.
And I'll just get those checks printed and sent out to you tomorrow. Should
Thank
have 'em
you.
Monday.
Thanks.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks.
Okay, on to reports. I have a note here, and I've mentioned this before. If you would like a tour of the facility, I believe a couple of us have done that already, but if you would like a tour, please contact Brandon and he can set that up for you. And if there's more than one, that's fine too. Right. Okay, let's move on to H1. Ted, our engineer. Your report, please.
Yeah, I'll be quick. So the water tower specifications and contract documents have been sent to contractors, I think August 12th, they were sent. So we're on target to receive bids, I think September 9th at this building. Ahead of the next operations meeting so we can make a decision. The generator project for Well House 2 is proceeding. I expect to have a draft available to review with Brandon's team, like either next week or the week after. So And I'll be prepared to do a little show and tell on GIS at the next operations meeting and provide some costs for how to get our data into the cloud so it's accessible on phones and stuff like that.
Good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
great, thank you. All right. And Brandon,
So I know you all got my report. Couple things I can hit on. Excavators Inc. is done. Well, they got a little bit of restoration work, I think, to finish up the water line at the wastewater treatment plant. I have not gotten an install date. Just reading through this, I sent an email just a minute ago for professional pump to install that other recirculation pump that was previously approved back in April. They have the pump. I'm just trying to get a schedule from them, and I've reached out to them numerous times, beginning of August and prior, with no movement from them, but we haven't got any bills. We had a fire hydrant over on Bridgeway Drive that was leaking. We had some staff come out and rebuild that fire hydrant. So that should be, it's not leaking no more. Other than that, is there any questions on the report?
Any idea how long the hydrant been leaking?
Well, at least a month, because we got notified, we went and ordered the parts right from Aetna. Aetna told us they'd have them within a week. A month later, we got the parts and got out there and put them in. So Aetna kind of drug us out a little bit. We wanted to do it right away, but they didn't have the parts on hand, like they told us they did.
Is that an older hydrant or
It's at East Jordan.
a 250?
I don't remember what it was. It's one of the Loch Alpine's got some weird ones. They got two 4 inches on them.
I'm not surprised.
any questions for either Ted or Brandon?
As far as the line that Excavator Inc. replaced, did they have any ideas on why it snapped or why it broke?
Well, that's one that's been repaired 3 times in the last
Yeah.
3 years. They, no idea. They put all plastic in, so basically they replaced it all the way up. The one thing they did run into that I forgot to mention, there's a yard hydrant right there that when they dug it up, they found that was leaking as well, so they replaced it. We were still under the I think it was $6,000 or $7,000 that you guys allotted. I think it was like 4 when we finally got the bill, so we were definitely still cheaper.
Replaced or rebuilt?
They replaced it.
Okay.
This is one of those cheap garden hose yard hydrants.
Oh,
Nothing big.
like the farm
Yeah.
type? Okay.
Anyone else? No,
Other than that, the only other thing that I can say is it's been awesome. You know, with Jillian, Ted and I and Michael have kind of been meeting once a week or as needed. Sometimes we cancel them just to kind of touch base on things in Lhasa. Kind of a staff meeting type of thing so that Jillian's aware of what's going on within Lhasa. That's been great. It's been a big help for us on my end. I don't forget things as easily.
I would agree with that sentiment. It's been useful that the balls keep rolling and that there's always a check-in, so.
Yep.
and thank you for your time for that.
Yeah, no problem.
And I really like your report, the way you have it laid out.
Okay, yeah, I can adjust things however you want, and I'm gonna be adding some more, there'll be some more information added to here. We're switching over work order programs, so I'll start putting some work orders in there for you guys to see that have been completed.
Great. And then whenever, once a month or whatever, and I can we can forward it over to the board, and then we'll just include it in the packet when we do meet. So everybody has access to it. Okay, so we're back to Wood Hill. I know we did the payment of the bills, but Michael, do you have anything?
Nothing else at the present time. All the bills are input. You've just approved them all, and we just did the ACH deposit for the last billing cycle and collected a couple hundred checks. So everything is up to date.
And include,
Michael,
Yes.
A while ago, you had asked about getting rid of the lead and copper stuff on the website.
Yes,
I have an answer for you.
great.
I talked to the state about how they're handling the 90% ale and for lead, for that are, over the 90% thing. And they want everybody to basically line up with the state. The state now has a website and a phone number, and they want to handle it from their end. And they don't want it to be handled from communities' ends. So I think you could safely drop that from the website.
That would be great. I will make that happen. The only,
Okay.
I guess I got one other thing is there was mention of getting a debit card for Loch Alpine to pay some of these bills for like web hosting and things like that. As soon as that happens, I have a $49 charge we need to make to keep the forms working on the website. So,
Oh, okay.
and we got a few weeks on that, but that will be helpful if you move forward to moving to Bank of Ann Arbor, I think it is.
J4.
Yeah, good. J4.
That's it.
I do
Yeah,
have a
that's the
question.
only other.
Oh, go ahead. That was the
I think
only
that's-
other.
I think that's the only other thing for me at the moment.
And
Yes.
Michael, we decided to have the, well, when we have payment of the bills, those are the bills that need to be paid within the couple weeks up to, unless it's an emergency. But then under your reports to have what invoices have been paid, and I like that, how you broke it down by check and also EFT.
Yep,
And
no problem there.
everybody's. Thank you. And I do have a question. Andrea, you said the lead and copper of,
Okay,
Could we-
there's a new rule this year for lead and copper exceedances for the 90th value that just went in this year. And initially, when they sent out the letters, it looked like all the communities were responsible, but I talked to Aislinn Deely of the state of Michigan about it, and they have a website set up for exceedances and a phone number. And basically they hand out, the phone number and the website and the paperwork, and it's all gonna be the same across the state.
so do we need,
For small communities.
For small-
Yeah, I mean, big ones can do it separately, but it's available for small communities. So if there is an exceedance, it will all, be the same, and it will be state approved. And, that's how, they basically want to run it.
well, do we need to have something on our website that links to their website, or is this?
Yeah, it only happens if there's a 90%,
Okay, so that, all right.
Yeah, and all right, all your sampling came back good, you said, for land copper?
Collecting more samples.
Okay,
I'll talk to you after the meeting, but, because I have a favor to ask, that maybe help us along,
okay,
but we're collecting more samples.
all right.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Michael and Andrea for
Welcome.
that. All right, so the board had requested, of F and V for quotes for valve turning and cleaning jetting. So Brandon, will you share?
Yeah, so valve turning, I haven't gotten anything for you. The sewer jetting, I was able to get one from M&K. 11,750 feet, is 1/5 of Loch Alpine's sewer collection system. I also asked them to do an additional, they charge an additional $1 a foot for NASCO rating. So basically you get a report that shows you, where you might need to look. Like, this section may need to be lined or things like that. That's kind of an option. And the overall price is $52,875 from M&K. So I was not able to get one.
That's for 11,000 feet?
11,750.
That footage is something you just took the overall thing.
Yeah.
Divided by 5.
It's something we did a couple years ago. We divided it Ted and I looked at it, this is how many total feet is, this is a fifth, so.
There are ways we could reduce that number, you know, because you're only required to do 1/7. And also you can like, have them go around and check manholes and see if there's any hot spots for, you know, and concentrate on an older part of town and, you know, bring that number down. But we could talk about that in an operations meeting, later.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that we need to make some type of schedule and figure out the details and
Right.
move forward with that. And then, Brandon, you'll still work on the valve turning.
Yes. I will
However
work on
you-
I will work on the valve turning. I've got a couple possible ways to get a contractor to do it, another contractor to do it.
I know some people who might be willing to do it.
Okay, perfect. Because when I talked, the last one I talked to, because you were only doing like 42 valve, doing a third, because it was so small, they weren't interested. But if you've got somebody, I'll take the phone number for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
And I just got a request from the public for us to turn on our mics and speak into them when you are speaking. Thank you.
Yeah, just pull it closer to you because
Okay.
it looks like they're all on. Well, we'll talk about the valve turning at the operations as well.
Has there ever been a cleaning period? I mean, other than spot cleaning when there was potential issues or breaks?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was,
Yeah.
like a project. When did that go?
So through, say, 2015, 2016, it was cleaned periodically, like kind of the whole system was cleaned out of,
Through the SAW grant.
well, it was done outside of the SAW grant, it was done periodically. And then the SAW grant, we did a whole bunch of it. That was in 2016, 2017, something like that, and then we haven't cleaned much since.
We did in 2023, we did a fit.
But prior to that, you know, I started working with Loch Alpine in 11, and there was cleaning going on from, 11 through 15 every year.
Right. And doing this on a regular basis, this is something that we can absorb? Okay,
I'm just confirming it's in the budget. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because we talked about
Yeah.
this 1/5. We did it in
Yeah.
23.
We have a line item in the
Yeah.
budget for a smaller amount,
I believe it to be 25,000.
25,000, yeah.
Yeah, I think we just had a placeholder. We weren't sure at the time. But now this
So
is.
we expect it to be more like this magnitude.
The prices have all gone up, yeah.
Yeah.
I calculated it off of the prices we got from Dexter and I came out to 35,000. So,
Dexter does its own?
no.
no, from M&K, we also
Okay.
contract with M&K.
Oh,
Do
interesting.
they have the same price per foot as?
I'll have to double check the price per foot.
Yeah.
And I just went according to the price per foot they were offered us.
Mhm.
Is the coating something you're recommending, Brandon?
Like sewer lining?
PSCP.
Yeah.
Oh, that NASCO rating?
Yeah.
I mean, I would consider it. It'd be definitely something you could drop off. I mean, you could look at the footage yourself. I mean, but Ted would love to dig through lots of footage.
No, it's, so what they do is they'll go through as they're
Right.
watching it, they'll line item, this is a 1 through 5, right? This is a
Right.
3, this is a 5, this is a 1, and, so they're giving you like then they'll give you a table or a picture of the sewer that shows the defects with a.
Is that data you all use then in the future
Well, then-
or not?
Yeah, then we use that, they'll identify infiltration, weepers or water coming in, so then you can use that to go, like, we're gonna go line this sewer because this one obviously needs help versus this one over here, right? So it's a data point that you can use for that kind of work.
It's a
Great.
very valuable
Thank
data
you.
point to evaluate what needs work and what doesn't.
It's so
Great.
fun watching, I watched a few of them.
No, I'm not suggesting that. No, thank you.
You
30 movies.
definitely want it. Part of the thing is there is so many systems that when people were going through and looking at them, and that's why it costs so much because they have to go in and mark on the video. They go through and do the paperwork at the same time. So you can sit there and read it. And there's a generic thing. So everybody knows what a 4 is. And it's the same across the board, no matter what municipality has it. So that's like somebody looking at it and saying it's bad. Well, what's bad to me isn't the same as what might be bad to you, but on that rating system, you can tell exactly what that is.
Hmm.
So it's worth it.
Okay. Well, thank you. I know it was like pulling teeth for a while there, but. All right, so operations. Good. So next, new business.
So is there any action on that you want to propose, or are you want to defer to operating committee?
That's the operation.
Yeah, the
Okay.
operations. Thanks. On to new business, J1. Proposed restated and amended articles of incorporation of the Loch Alpine Sanitary Authority of Webster and Scioto Township. Clerk Flintoff, you had prepared this?
Sure, thank you. And I would ask members, I know it's beefy, but to kind of look at J1 and J2 together. Just as reference, because I think a lot of the questions that have come up over email are related to J2 as well as J1. So a lot of the questions about the proposed articles from May are about implementation, about, well, how would the board do this or how would the board do that? And all of that is TBD, which is what J2 is related to. So is it fair to assume that everybody has read these? No judgment if you haven't? Yes? Okay, great. Then I would just say, Loss has been working on these for a couple of years. The restated and amended articles, while they are much shorter and more modern, the substantive changes, besides kind of modernizing the language, are really around Article 5 and Article 8.
Excuse me, I'm going to interrupt just for a second. Brandon, I believe, unless you want to stay, you don't need to. Does anybody need him?
No. I'll stay and listen for a little bit.
Okay, okay. I didn't want you to feel like you're captive with items that don't pertain to.
No, we're good.
Okay.
So certainly still a 7-member board and an operating committee. Same duties assigned to the LASA chair, same duties assigned to the operating committee. The operating committee's duties are set forth still in Article 8, administrative functions without prior approval, provided that no activity is in conflict with the published position of the board. That's the same. Certainly, this board can determine exactly what the operating committee should do, but the articles assume that the operating committee has some autonomy to carry out administrative duties. The change in Article 5 related to the operating committee is in the number of who's in the operating committee. So this proposed change makes it kind of open, because over the years, it used to just be 3 members, but for many years, it's been more than that. So this keeps it more flexible, stating that it shall consist of the chair of the board, at least 2 other board members, and may include additional members from the board and or persons from the LASA service area. So it's broader. It does state that the operating committee shall have at least 1 board member from each township. That is new. And what is also new is persons serving on the operating committee may receive compensation as determined by the board from time to time. That was not in the prior articles, even though at some points in time that, what was the practice.
That payment was in the original articles of the corporation.
On operating
Yes,
committee?
no, not for the
Operating
or-
committee.
Yeah, for the board.
I'm talking about the operating committee.
Okay.
So new would be proposing that option as well for the operating committee.
So I have a question. It says earlier, that 3 members shall be appointed by the Webster Township Board of Trustees, 3 members shall be appointed by SIO, and the 7th member shall be the resident of the LASA service. At least one of the members appointed by each township shall be a member of the respective township board of trustees. So
Mhm.
if there's one member from each board, then they have to be on the operations committee, according to,
If under this, so you're jumping to the board, but yes, if each, the Webster and SIO boards decided to appoint only one board member, then yes,
they would have.
each of those would be. To the top of Article 5 where you are, it would remain 7 members. It would remain 3 from Webster and 3 from SIO. And we'll talk about the 7th in a moment. But if people would just bear with me for a minute, for the 3 from each board, and this really was, came out of the recommendations from Supervisor Kingsley in my experience a couple of years ago, where, each board needed to keep the seats filled. And honestly, SIO's practice, we had community members appointed, we had different people appointed. And so this language, we felt, and I know Mike and Andrea and Matt, Jane and I, discussed this when we met twice on this, was it gives each board flexibility. So I can imagine, having a SIO or a Webster Board of Trustees where you might have a, trustee who lives in Loch Alpine. You might have a treasurer who is an engineer. You might have, you don't know who you're going to have on your board or not have on your board in terms of somebody who might be most qualified to be your township's representative. So it's just written to add more flexibility. Certainly how each board determines who they want to appoint is each board's prerogative is kind of how I look at it. The question about the 7th member, and this is where Lucy Cohen, and thank you for your question. In terms of the part where we've been out of compliance with the law, is these, please, no, go.
Totally trash you in about 5 seconds.
Go. No, go ahead.
I understand all, okay, so. Okay. First, just for me, so I got stuck on the committee to look at the articles of incorporation without being provided with the current articles of incorporation.
Same here.
So, because it started way before we started, right? So I did not actually see LIP right now, it's being, when we first started, so.
You stated that for the last 18 months, they've been circulated informally. I did not see them until I got any of them, until I got on the Articles of Incorporation. And I did not see the current Articles of Incorporation. I saw your versions. That's where we started with the subcommittee.
Okay, and I want to apologize for that. I didn't know that. And this has been, so nothing deliberate there.
Also, I got told one of the reasons why we were revising this was it was not in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. And then I look at your, the current Articles of Corporation, and the last amendment was made after the Open Meetings Act was approved. So I assume it is, goes with the Open Meetings Act. I don't know if that's one of the things that.
I've
might
never
get to.
heard anybody say anything about the Open Meetings Act, but let's go.
So my underlying problem is I have not seen anything actually telling us we are not following the law. It may not be we may want to do something differently, but I saw that when you responded to that lady, when one of the letters.
Yes,
That
Lucy Cohen.
that we kind of have to do this because we're not allowed to let Loch Alpine appoint their own member. And I mean, the way, I know I've had a very strange legal career, but my career is mostly been, you have to prove it to me with cases and statutes. And I pulled down the enabling statute, and there's nothing in there about, they say we can form this authority, but it does not say who can be on it or how, that it has to be someone who's on who's actually, you know, a governing body person, or that all of them had to be appointed by like SIO or Webster. So I felt that was kind of slightly misleading. And it certainly caused like a lot of confusion with what I see in the letters from people.
LAIA ran it past their lawyer and they couldn't find anything that said in the, anything specific in the law for that point either.
And
Also, I have, watched, the DEQ and DNR and Eagle, depending on what their name is, hand responsibility off for failing utilities to whoever is closest or not closest, who they think would do the best job over the years, and without regards to public, you know, who's there. They just gave it to someone else and say, you do this and get it right.
and the other, so for me also for this, for this, because you guys have your own water and septic. And I understand, like, that is a municipal water system. We're a municipal body running a private water system here. So,
And it was handed to
Which
the
per-
townships because the private owner was failing
And-
back in 1957.
so, so I guess I'm at this point not, unless, I mean, it's not like I know everything. And I haven't actually done like Westlaw on this, but it's, I need to, for me personally, if we're gonna change something that the people we're running the sewer system for don't want, I'd have to see like an actual, show me I can't, I guess. As far as, I guess we might as well keep going for the other parts about, who should be on it from each board. Well, right now, I mean, I'm not really that interested in changing that as a person. No matter what happens, I'm gonna get yelled at. I have to be involved. I mean, I have a whole board who has no idea what is going on, except for Jeff and Tony now, what is going on with this place. And I mean, and this is the other thing for the clerk. So I kind of think supervisors are natural people to be on this, unfortunately. And the other thing for the clerks, because I know we're gonna talk about like who's gonna help with them, you know, the bills and the money and SIO, and it's almost like that's normally the clerk's job. Like if I'm gonna ask Tony to start running payroll for us getting paid, it's a lot easier if Tony's here. And right now, it looks like if Tony doesn't want to be here, there is a procedure so that she doesn't have to be. But I'm just not,
And I don't think this only links with the appointment of the seventh member. This also, the rewriting the articles of incorporation goes to several of the new business things. And I think it all has to do with the problem between policy, governance, and operations or management. And right now, we got this problem that LASA is too small to have its own manager, but we need a manager to manage a bunch of contract employees. So we have a conflict going on with normal operations of a board, because a normal board would be about governance. It wouldn't be about management. And you've made a lot of actions, but it doesn't address the underlying condition that we need to deal with how we're doing management issues and policy issues. And in previous years, the management stuff went to the operating committee and the chairman who handled that. And right now, you know, you have a bunch of actions where that can change that balance again. So we need as a board to decide what that balance is going to be going on.
Okay.
I agree.
So I'd also like to say, I mean, you're saying it's changed in 5, and what was the other one? 8?
Those are the substantive areas, yes.
And it's
Be-
6
Because 7
and 7.
went to 4 lines from 2 pages.
Mm-hmm,
That's a substantial change.
Mhm.
And again, I don't understand the reason for some of these changes.
Mhm.
They don't make a lot of sense to me. Seems like a lot of the stuff that was in here works. And I see other stuff that we really need to look at, for instance, Act 222 procedures.
Mhm.
Getting that kind of stuff down. Obviously, we're talking about management. Like, what is the role of the operating committee? What do they do? We need to hammer that down, I think, and I do think there could be tweaks to this. As we've spoken about and we've talked about the representation that's outside of our boards. Honestly, when this was put in place, it was Loch Alpine was there. Loch Alpine is, what's the percentage, do you know?
80%.
80%. So I don't know that we shouldn't expand it to have another representative and we can talk about how it's handled, but another representative for the other two developments. And that maybe they could rotate who sits on it or they decide that kind of thing. And then they could feel like they have representation too. And Loch Alpine keeps their seat. And and that makes sense on how that works.
That would tip us to 8, though. It wouldn't be even anymore.
It
I
would
mean, it wouldn't be uneven anymore.
No, that's true. It would. And I mean, that's a I mean, we could look at how we're doing it. It's just the idea.
Right, yeah.
You know, do you add 2? And if so, we could do that. It's possible to do it. I think that's an answer to some of the quandary that we have with this, but some of these changes, I don't see the reason for them. I honestly don't. It doesn't make sense to me. I do see when I first read the thing about who sits on the board and the one thing that I didn't like was when it might have been a rendition because that stuff was kind of played with for many of these amendments. And it was almost always 7 that was messed around with. Yeah, and the fact is, like, one of the things when I read it, and I'm not sure if it's the last rendition or not, so somebody can correct me, was if somebody doesn't want to serve, they get to pick who serves for them. I don't like that. I mean, and that's a thing for me too. It's like, okay, if you don't get to serve, then it should go to the board
Yes.
for them to assign somebody. But I just don't see the expansive changes that we have in here and the reasoning for them. It doesn't make sense to me. So.
There's another, well, yeah, and I agree, there could be tweaks. And with this new draft, if we're saying 3 members shall be appointed by Webster Township and then 3 by SIO, but then only 1 board member from each must be at least one, right? At least one, but then both boards could just say, oh, well, we want the rest of them to be Loch Alpine or just somebody that has water or sewer. So it really goes back to then why does it matter if LAIA chooses or not? I mean, because what I would recommend is that if they do nominate, that we have to accept that. I mean, it's just another
Sure.
idea, but
That's the idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the other, this is water and sewer. And there's not very many people that understand water and sewer. I've been studying it since 2011 and of course, I'm just somebody who is a nerd that way, but Jeff, you're a professional and Brandon's a professional. And then to find people who actually want to serve on a board and especially one that isn't very sexy.
Mhm.
But I think that we do need to open it up and if there is somebody that's interested. And so Jess, I have a
Okay,
question.
I was,
On the operations committee, when I was going through the different names,
Sure.
yeah, that brought up.
the different names on the operations committee, because they're, in the email list. I know there's 3 that are supposed to be on the operations and then there's Neil, but are they members?
Yes, based on prior board action.
They are members, okay. And are they all from Loch Alpine or are they from the other two? Any from the other two?
Neil is a lockout line.
Neil's
correct?
lockout line.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
he's
sorry.
Loch Alpine,
Yeah.
and he was chairman for the nineties and the early
Yeah.
aughts.
Yep.
Yeah, when Don Z passed away,
Mhm.
then he ended
Yep.
up. So, do we have, on the operations, do we have a representative from what are the?
No,
the other
we
two
don't. I
HOAs?
mean, under our current articles, there's 3 members of the operating committee. We've already had more than 5 appointed. So, which is okay that we're out of compliance there. I mean, but that is what we've done is more than what we have. I don't believe there's any from the other HOAs.
No, there's not currently any from the other,
don't think
well, there has been people who've said they'd be gone, but they didn't stay.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And could I just add a little bit here? Again, this is the first time the board's talking about it. I think the idea of 9 is an option. I think making changes, not making changes, but I will tell you, this has been drafted by each of our attorneys, are the ones who have driven this. So this was redrafted by Jim Fink and then drafted again by Matt Jane. I didn't have a single.
We were the ones who went to them and said, went to them and said, to look at it.
No, I did not. Andrew, that was back in 2023 when Jim Fink, before you were on it, when Jim Fink said, hey, these need some work. So, and Mike, I really appreciate your point. I don't know if it's, worth, having a sit down with Matt Jane to hear his opinion on it. I think the thing that verbally, and I certainly wouldn't be stating that if I didn't believe it to be true, but I also appreciate there's maybe, the kind of, I'll believe it when you can prove it to me legally. So if it's talk directly to the attorneys about it, because I think that the basic principle is it's a public body. And so a private entity should not be appointing directly to the public body, that there should be, whether it's, a nomination and an approval by that body or appointments by another township board. I think that's the idea. I appreciate your expertise, Mike. And if you believe a private entity can appoint directly to a public body, then, and that's what we want policy-wise. 1, if it's legal, and 2, if that's what we want policy-wise, then we can keep it. But I think we could, I don't want to, engage Matt Jane any more than we need to. But we certainly could and should on this
There's always
if the
sending a
whole
message
group.
to evil.
Well, it was my understanding, I had a conversation with Mr. Kingsley about this, about what drove this originally.
Yeah.
And it was the legality
Yeah.
of that one thing.
Right.
That's not all of what's changed in here. There's a bunch of stuff that changed in there that was not relevant to that at all.
Mhm.
And I don't understand why those changes, that's the thing.
That's
those
what was
changes-
recommended by our attorney. So we
Okay.
can take it or leave it, but that's where it came from. It was all our attorney, Jim Fink, who's a very fine attorney,
I know.
went
Jim
through
did,
and,
yeah.
and I believe that they used, they looked at Yucca, they looked at some other examples and tried to modernize it. So that's where it came from. I mean, I'll just say there's, we've had board transitions, we've had a lot of different things, but this has been driven exactly as I wrote by our attorney. We had a couple meetings with Navarre and Kingsley and then had a couple meetings. There's nothing else that's gone into it.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No,
because
I'm fine being-
Unfortunately,
I'm
you're the
fine.
only one that's left.
Had knowledge, I
Yeah.
know, and I appreciate that, and I'm fine being on the spot. I'm just saying that, like Andrew, I don't know, I cannot recall any mention of OMA. Like, for example, and so I will say that my sincere belief was that, this is what's been recommended by our attorney. Doesn't mean we have to take it,
Right.
but I do think it's incumbent on this board to understand those concerns
Sure.
if we're going to dispute them.
I just wonder if there's a different way of doing it. And one of the things is literally looking at LAIA makes a recommendation and then that gets ratified by the board.
That's anticipated here,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's one of the things, yes, that I
I'd
would
be
see
supportive.
as remedy for that.
Sure.
That's why J2, which is kind of like, if we were to adopt these articles where the LASA board decided it was legally necessary and our policy preference to make an appointment, then how do we select nominees? Do we take them from the HOAs? Do we just take LAIAs? I do think there's a fairness question regarding the fact that, well, LAIA does represent 80%, it's only 80%, and we represent the entire, LASA service area. So
Right.
whether we go to 9, whether we do something else,
On the other hand, both SIO and Webster represent a lot of other people that don't have anything to do with Loch Alpine.
right, so we could reduce
I
those
was gonna
members.
say,
Yeah.
reduce,
I mean,
reduce
there's all
two
options.
townships to 2 apiece, and then you could have your 2 seats for the other HOAs. That's an option.
Yeah, there's lots of options.
That's no I mean, that's the whole point of it. Stuck no matter what happens.
But from a legal perspective, I mean, what kind of information would be helpful for the board?
And we also have the issue of management versus governance here with the operating committee, because you pointed out in the special meeting that was canceled and special meeting now, there's, actions about the operating, draft about operating committee and what it was in the past. And we need to discuss that because that has not been discussed.
I agree. I have wanted nothing more than this board and the operating committee to set some meeting dates.
Yep.
So the operating committee hasn't met in months, and I think that would be.
It's still
great thing.
a schedule.
And
And in your past, in the meeting that was canceled, you had a possible action for more operating meetings with a restricted, scope of.
it was not restricted.
You said with I don't remember it exactly because I don't have it in front of me, but we're still talking about the duties, of the operating committee, which is operations versus policy. And that's something we got to discuss because we're a mixed board here since we're not big enough to have, a manager on site for all this stuff.
I agree.
We're doing both. And I don't know if everybody on this board wants to do both.
I agree. We need to figure all this out. I'd like to see a reinvigorated operating committee. On the articles, does the board, my understanding is that, our attorney's opinion was that was out of compliance. If we want to hear directly from the attorney, if we want to do some research on our own, what would be helpful?
I called Jim Fink this morning about the articles because I wanted his, and I think this conversation was brought up when when I was appointed or around that time, or before, okay, so I wasn't part of that. And I asked him, I said, is it illegal for an LAIA, to appoint a member? And he said, no, but it's inappropriate. And the reason why is he gave an analogy, like Ford Motor Company is in Dearborn. Dearborn has a city council. It would be like Ford Motor appointing one of their CEOs to be on the
Correct.
Dearborn. So that was one way to look at it, but
I can't speak to the legality of it, but it certainly isn't maybe a best practice at a minimum.
Yeah, well, the
However-
Eagle is, it's now called Eagle, but Eagle's allowed to, basically redistribute, management of a utility when it's failing. And that's what happened in 1957. And it's legal on at least at the state level to do that.
well, on the other hand, those original articles did state about LAIA. It went through legal, it went through, however it was set up,
Right.
and it was approved that way.
Yes, it
So
was.
unless there's something that's changed from then from back then to now regarding that, I'm kind of, And, you know, I really feel that because this oversees.
LAIA also takes care of items for us. You know, they take care of like lawn contracts for us. They take care of streets for us. Their board members keep an eye on our land and, you know, and that, you know, is our responsibility, but they're taking care of, they have an eye on it. You know, we have 10 parcels they keep an eye on. Somebody goes and browns and looks at them, you know, every 2 weeks.
Tony. You're thinking really hard. At least that's a look on your face.
Yes, you know, LAIA, you know, does have a skin in this game. And they are doing work on the entire utilities behalf.
Do you have anything to contribute, Tony?
I am just listening to the back and forth. I'm definitely with Mike on this. We don't have to change it if it isn't broken. And I would very much like to see why it's broken from a legal perspective. If it truly is. And if it isn't, then we operate inside. It's like changing the Constitution. And I know that's a grandiose experiment of what we're doing there, but you don't change it if you can make it work. And that's my feeling about everything that's going on here. I would really like to see some bylaws put in place, which we apparently don't have. I'd like to see some procedures so that if I'm not in Loch Alpine, but if something comes flowing into my basement, who do I call? And somebody's at that number. And then I would like to have the conversation. If there is an emergency, and not making any comments or judgments on it as far as what happened in the past. But if there's an emergency, I would very much like to have us have the discussion of, okay, once we do an investigation, and blame is the wrong word, but perhaps responsibility is the best word for that situation, through investigation is assigned, perhaps there should be a pool of money that reimburses the victim while we fight with the insurance companies. And I just am very unhappy with the way this has been handled. That's what I'm thinking.
And I agree that policies, we need a sewer backup policy, a water main break policy, and then bylaws. And it was stated back in 2009. Here's Michael, thank you for finding this wherever you found it. 'Cause I've never seen this before until today. Yeah, so and he talked about there were no bylaws in 2009.
Correct. So what is the problem and I'm very new to this, very new, and I know nothing about it except I flush the toilet and turn on the tap. And I want it to work. But what is the problem that we don't have bylaws for this body and we don't have procedures that seem to be functional? That's my observation, Joe.
I've been searching, we have lots of boxes here of LASA, and I inherited in my office, and I have scoured, I finally got through all of those. Haven't gone through all the boxes in the basement.
Well,
But
we
I
have our
was-
rules. I mean,
Yeah, right,
our
we have
rules, but
rules.
we also, you know, are in terms of, you know, some of the emergency procedures, we have historically contracted some of those out. I agree with everything you're saying about the operational stuff, Tony.
Yeah, and Loch Alpine does have a basic sewer and water use ordinance.
Yeah, we
that's
have an
kind of
ordinance.
defined that, you know, that Jillian mentioned from 2007.
It goes
And
into the rules and the
yeah,
billing.
it's very basic.
It seems to have more to do with the mechanics of how I sign up.
In 2007.
Yeah. Then what do I do if there's a problem? And I never did see any bylaws.
We don't have
for-
bylaws.
For this group.
To my knowledge, LASA has never had bylaws.
Articles, that's it, I think.
Yeah, articles and then those 2007.
So
If I could ask a question on the articles and really the J1 and J2, just in an effort to move us along, Jillian. I'm wondering on the articles, is it, what would be most helpful in terms of see why it's broken from a legal perspective? Would you like to request maybe that we could potentially have a conversation with Matt Jane about it when he's next here? That might be most efficient. Or we could ask for a memo, which might be more costly, but I wonder if we might be able to have a closed session with him potentially on Monday, if there's time to ask some of these basic questions. Would that be helpful?
Very much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I know
Like
the fundamental,
I
yeah,
need chapter and verse
exactly.
on why this is not in compliance.
Yep, exactly.
It's my accounting background.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Does that meet your needs, Mike?
Yeah, mine too.
Okay, cool.
And I do, like, if you, I don't know if he was gonna look at this at the same time, but if he's got a different alternative. I mean, if we can come up with a procedure where we pretty much can guarantee that the lockout line person will get on.
We can do that.
Then that would be, that would work out, if as long as it works out the same way.
I mean,
Oh.
but that's on us. We can, that's a policy question.
And it's weird, because it's not like we wouldn't keep Andrew as far as I know, but like, for other for people after us. Otherwise it turned into like this weird political game where you're the buddy of somebody's, supervisor and you get on a lockout. I mean, it's just, some of it's a little.
Right,
It's
and
not
that,
us. It's like, it's weird. It's like the next 50 years or whatever.
right.
But yeah, I think that would be helpful.
Well, and it's the board here that asks the attorney for, it's not the attorney saying to us that you need to change this or whatever. They're just giving their opinion and their legal
Or
and.
generally
Well,
attorneys,
By Eagle.
No, we haven't.
I don't think it needs to go.
No.
Eagle revised, reviews ordinances. Actually, they do,
Yeah,
and
this
that
is
kind of thing.
an article.
I even know who's, because Dexter just had one reviewed.
Ordinances for sure. Articles though, you think?
I don't know about.
I don't know about articles.
Don't know about that, but
Yeah.
you could run it by them and see what they say.
back to responding to the attorney situation. Attorneys don't dictate policy of any decision-making body. They advise and sometimes strongly advise how body should act, but that doesn't dictate what the body necessarily does.
Right. I just think it's, if our attorney's giving us advice, I usually consider it seriously. So I'll ask Matt Jane if he might be able to answer questions Monday for us.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And we scheduled that for 2 hours, I believe, from 3 to 5. So we should. Hoping that we'll have time, yeah. Okay, are we complete with J3? Okay. J3, let's see, possible action proposed MOU with Scioto Township for ongoing IT, cash receipting and accounts payable services. So then there was, Clerk Flintoff,
Sure.
the handouts, those are for J5.
The one that says J3 is for J3.
Oh, wait a minute.
There's a new one, right?
Yeah, I put them all together. Yeah.
So this is for discussion tonight. We've talked about this a little bit. We had a couple good meetings internally. And we also had a meeting with Woodhill as well about this. If folks recall, the Woodhill contract doesn't explicitly cover cash receipting or accounts payable. Certainly it's one of the areas, and even when we had our prior accountant here, I think those of us who work in this office, we have lots of customers come in, they pay, their checks go in a folder, they sit. right? And so it slows things down and Michael gets a lot of questions about, am I paid, am I not? And so I want to thank Ryan as our treasurer, who's, ready to kind of step up, and we figured out how to take on cash receipting. If the LASA board and if the Webster board, so desired for SIO to do it, but we've been the legal address, it's our Dropbox, it's our mailbox. So this proposed agreement would be to continue IT, take on cash receipting, and then to take on the accounts payable, which are, not many, as we know. We have figured out how we would do this, and part of it is related to J4 and 5 in terms of a requirement Ryan would have as treasurer for a different bank, and J5 would be some draft policies we've come up with for LASA. Consideration, again, we don't have to take action tonight, but for people to digest them, for LASA to adopt a cash receipting policy and an AP policy. So the way that I see this is really, Woodhill has said, it's unsustainable. They have been asking for a kind of more efficient solution. I think it's a better service for customers because we will be able to process the cash receipting. But there's a lot of questions that I know that the board will have around process, liability, all of this stuff. We've checked it out from our end and we're comfortable, but know that both LASA and Webster will want to give this some consideration. So are there questions?
Well, I just have one because, oh, sorry. I just had one because, I mean, from what I see, Woodhill's awesome. They
are.
They just want, it's too unwieldy for them to handle it for this, right? Is that kind of?
Yeah, well, Michael is the mayor. And he literally drives here. He drives here at night. We FedEx
Well, we
things to
FedEx
him.
things.
We FedEx check. It's not secure. It's not timely for customers.
Not efficient.
And I want to thank Michael personally and Woodhill generally as an organization because they have stretched themselves and they've really been doing this as a public service.
Okay, that's kind of what I wondered if it was.
Yeah.
If I c-
Oh, Michael,
Go ahead, Michael.
Oh, I was just going to weigh in since you brought up my name. I can tell you that if you had to design an inefficient way to do things that still took care of the customers, this is a way to do it. It is.
Okay.
I would not. This is not the right way to do things, but it has filled a gap for over 2 years, and I think it's time to move on to a new way to do this. And I fully support the idea that if you guys can work it out, that SIO can handle the cash receipting and the accounts payable at the beginning here. I just think that's the right way to do it. And I'm the guy that's been doing it for 2 years, so I kind of have some experience here. The FedExing has improved things, but they do sit. Customers call, did I pay my bill? I'll say, and it's very uncomfortable to say, well, I haven't gotten the mail yet. So when you have this, and then adding, I think later on here is BSNA's online tool, people can start doing self-serve. That's going to take a lot of, answer a lot of questions for people and by, do-it-yourself fashion. So that's what I have. It's my thoughts.
Thank you.
Cool. So who's been doing this for the last 50 years or 70 years?
So back in the day, it was the SIO Township clerk, according to the old minutes. For many years before that, there was a woman, I'm blanking who it was before Sandy Egler, but it was an employee of SIO Township who I think did it as a contract gig. And then Sandra Egler did it as a contract gig until 2023. I will say that because she did it outside her job, that the checks did sit just as long as they do for Woodhill. So I just want to say it's not slowed down
Sure.
since bringing Woodhill on. It's always been a little slow. And then Woodhill has been doing it. So
there's been somebody essentially contracted, even if they were.
Always contracted. And so this would be the first time that it would be an agreement with SIO Township as a township. And so because we are separate entities, certainly we had our attorney draft this proposed agreement. It needs some time with the LASA board. I would also suggest some time with the Webster board because I want to make sure that everybody's really comfortable. And Ryan, do you want to speak a little bit about, I guess, if people have questions, J5 includes the two proposed policies. The cash receipting policy is the policy that Ryan and I developed and had adopted by our board based on a best practice by Maynard Casterison, and it is what we follow every day. And the accounts payable process is a simplified one, probably very similar to what LASA has been doing, what Webster does and what SIO does. But I just tried to kind of right size it to LASA, open to edits. But just tried to get something on paper because this is a policy we haven't had.
I mean, it makes sense. This makes sense to have something. I'm a little shocked that it was how it was handled before. It's a very odd thing. I'm just curious, the costs from then versus the costs now, and I'm not talking inflation or anything. We have monthly fee of blank. What's the estimate? What are you guys looking at?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've done a number.
Yeah, I need to look back at it, honestly, which is why this is for discussion only here. We were looking at it as possibly what we do for our other funds is sort of a cost allocation based on real time, like based on proportion number of deposits,
Okay.
But I really need to run the numbers and I apologize because I was, just trying to get a first draft.
That's okay. You'll have estimates. then.
Yeah, and honestly, like all SIO wants to do is something that's fair to both of us, recognizing that, we're all serving the same public, so.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm personally so I only ask because Woodhill's good. So, but I have no reason to doubt that you could, I'm sure you can handle doing it, right? So other than that, I'm gonna defer to my favorite accountant over there about.
I'd just like to read it first.
Absolutely.
Jessica.
Absolutely.
It was.
And tear up the proposed policies, please. Because these really would be LASA's policies. It's just in discussion with Ryan and others. We had suggested that if SIO were going to take on a responsibility related to money, we would want to conform with LASA's policies. LASA didn't have policies, so I drafted some proposed policies. Okay. To just kind of see what's reasonable. So we're sort of trying to build this.
And so when we talk about IT, we're really talking about a separate little module BSNA for this.
Correct.
We have it already. So that is one thing SIO's already done for LASA. Because the LASA, all of the accounting records existed on one not very well backed up laptop. It is now secure on our server, segregated, and we now have access so that what we could do is when a customer comes in, we go in remote desktop into the LASA BSNA and actually receipt right there.
Yeah, we talked about the dreaded single laptop before, I think.
Sorry to bring it up again. Sort of burned in my brain. So, but because, and also, certainly Michael, Colleen, the Woodhill team have access to that now. The SIO people who would have access would be only as authorized by this board.
Well, I do have one other question about J4. So, did you want us to still consider that part today to let you guys do a
That would
bank
be,
account or?
that would be great if you would, if people have questions, I'm happy to answer them. Currently, LASA uses, I think the only bank account is at Flagstar. Flagstar is not local to here. And it's a little bit sorry, I know I was gonna sneeze, I was just waiting. Bank of Ann Arbor and Scioto Township have a great relationship, and it would be very easy to open another account, and we take daily deposits to Bank of Ann Arbor. So if LASA had an account at the same bank, we would simply take it with our other deposits. Also, Woodhill had asked for us to get a debit card for several purchases. Bank of Ann Arbor assured me that's not a problem and they would be able to take care of that as soon as the account was opened.
And please tear up the policies, like, think of questions or comments you have. For example, with ACH, Michael prepares the batch. I go in, review and approve. Like, we do have 2 of those, but this is a chance to really kind of firm up payment of the bills. The proposal for AP here really delegates that authority and just allows the board to then just receive a list of bills paid with some exceptions.
So you were talking about J5.
Yeah, J5, the proposed accounts receivable, and that kind of matches with how LASA used to work. We didn't always, approve all the bills prior to paying.
We should go back to J4 and
Yeah,
approve this. And then also, do we need to add, there's not a model motion here, we can create one, but to add the debit card for payments,
true. So.
just to have a record?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I would do is I would make the motion to authorize the additional depository bank at Bank of Ann Arbor for LASA and to allow myself and Clerk Flintoff to be signers, as well as authorize Bank of Ann Arbor to issue a debit card for LASA's account.
Should we,
I'm happy to take any amendments to that.
okay, I'm just thinking, should we have a Webster Township member on that account? as
I think
well?
we should.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Put Michael
Okay.
Okay.
Michael?
on. It's just a formality
Isn't allowed to handle money.
that he's on it.
Sure.
And so, Ryan, could I ask you to repeat the motion, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. To authorize LASA members Ryan Yapel and Jessica Flintoff to be signers and open a bank account for LASA at Bank of Ann Arbor. Additionally, to authorize Bank of Ann Arbor to issue a debit card for this account. Oh, and
That's
Mr.
right.
D'Angelo, which was not written down, sorry.
And Ryan, whose name would the debit card be in?
Not it.
Not it.
It really depends. I'd have to ask.
And ultimately handling the payment of the bills, which is what I understand Woodhill wants to do, then one of you should be, whoever.
Yeah.
should be issues now.
Yeah, so Ryan, that might be me.
It might be, I think we
Could we do
figure-
it SIO?
I think that could be handled administratively with the bank.
Yeah, because we'll have Rebecca actually cut the checks.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we can handle that administratively with the bank. I don't, unless you want it to be part of the motion.
No, that's okay. I just want to make sure everybody's comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay. Seconded. Motion by Yeaple, support by Brevant.
Let's do a roll call vote, please.
Dorney,
Aye.
Brevant. Aye. D'Angelo,
Aye.
Harm,
Aye.
Flintoff, aye. Carrie,
Aye.
Yeaple,
Aye,
motion adopted 7-0.
thank you.
Thank you.
So when would we like to revisit J3 of J-Prop?
Well, our next regular meeting is Monday, October 6th at 5 PM.
I wonder if we might talk about it at J9. I was gonna suggest this board might want to add some regular meetings, so we're not continuing to call special meetings, which I know is frustrating for all of us. So let's put a pin in it for there.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Should we meet like once a month until everything settles down? Or what are you thinking, Justin?
I'm not sure. I'm open. Do you guys want to jump to J9 real quick? Do you want to jump to J9 real quick,
Okay.
Jillian?
Sure. Yeah, we're gonna get there eventually. Now that it's come up, let's talk about it.
I was just, suggesting a change to the regular schedule of our board and operating committees so that we can meet more. We haven't had, not meet more to, for the sake of meeting more, but we're trying to do some of this organizational development. And I know that I personally really feel like our operating committee needs to meet. And kind of move forward some of these things. We've gotten some feedback from some of the members of the operating committee that there hasn't been a meeting. I agree.
Well, we did have a meeting, a regular meeting on June 13th. But that's, they meet once every 3 months and.
Right.
So I think historically, we've met kind of quarterly, right? Where the operating committee, part of their duty is they sort of develop the operating items that need to come to the board versus which ones they can handle administratively. We're only looking at a couple more months. Is the next operating committee on September 9th, Jillian? Is that right?
September 12th.
September 12th?
And it's a Friday, and Webster Township, they're closed on Fridays, and
Okay.
if we have some Jeff.
Yeah, me.
Well, let's go chronologically then. Does Friday, September 12th still work for the operating committee?
Why don't we just move it off Fridays? That'll make everybody happier. Okay,
Thursdays.
not the
Sorry.
Thursday. Well, you're still doing staff meetings on Thursdays, right?
Wait, are you asking?
Or Jillian,
Well, that's what we schedule, but we don't
Right.
always meet.
right? So do you want it on the same day, or is that too much trouble to have them both on the same day?
No, it's
You want it before or after?
Brandon.
After would be easier.
Are our contractors charging us for both of those?
You know,
Just to be blunt.
I'm doing it in scope.
Okay.
It's an hour to maybe half an hour.
If you had it, one after the other, then, it's more efficient for our contractors.
We could even just merge the two,
Well, yeah,
you
because
know?
like today, I just called to touch base to see if there's anything. But we didn't have a meeting, it's just, so we can always cancel it on the day that we have an operations meeting. And we
Yeah.
don't meet every week
I
either.
think that's a good idea.
Yeah, if Thursdays are good for everyone and,
That would give other Webster officials the opportunity.
Yeah, I hear that.
to-
yeah, this is an ulterior motive for you.
Tony's shooting me daggers right now.
So what time and date is our operating committee members?
Merge it
proposing?
together, it'd be 1 o'clock, because that's when the
Well,
staff meeting is, or
yeah.
maybe 3 if you wanted to be after the staff meeting.
Do we have, we generally don't have, well, there are Thursday meetings though.
I'll check it. I'll
Once a
check it
month
for you.
against LPC.
Yeah, we're okay. I think as long as you're before 4 o'clock. Are you suggesting 4 o'clock or earlier, Jillian? What date and time is being suggested?
Or how long? 2 to 4, 3 to
Are you
4?
available during the day? Well, I guess you're already working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can confirm with the meeting hall's calendar right now that 9/11, which would be that Thursday, is open from 2 to 4.
Yep.
Let's do 2.
That works for me.
Operating committee set for 9/11 at 2.
No, September 11, right? Is
Yeah.
that-
Yep, you said 9/11, I said 9/11, so September the 11th
Oh.
at 2 p.m.
Well, we have
Same.
a lot going on September 9th. That's why I just keep hearing September 9th all the time.
So it's
Okay.
2 to 4.
Yep.
Okay, and then do we want to,
Well,
right, and not the 12th?
Can we leave the board meetings on Mondays?
Sure.
Yeah, that's, for Mondays work fine for me.
We don't have anything in Webster meeting on Mondays typically.
Right.
So that might.
So could we then have a board meeting on Monday, the 15th? Do we want to do that?
Could we, I know we have planning commission meetings. They begin at 7.
It's-
We do 5.
It's not on the 15th.
Okay.
Good. 3 o'clock is good, 5 o'clock is fine.
I'm happy to do either.
Well,
that
the
would-
thing is that what Brandon and Ted have said to me is that having an operations meeting like the week before or a couple days before the board isn't enough time to prepare. So if we could have like 2 weeks in between, would that give you enough time?
2 to 3 weeks, yeah.
2 to 3 weeks.
I mean,
But.
So the
yeah,
29th?
I don't think, we've got things to talk about. I don't think that affect the operations committee, and they wouldn't have anything necessarily to bring back to us when it comes
Agreed.
to articles.
Or
about-
policies.
Yeah,
No, but if they have,
if they did.
if they, not necessarily that, but if they have operations to.
Because then going forward, we could adjust those times so that we're falling on all the weeks. I mean, I don't know. To me, that makes sense. Let's get some of this stuff hammered out and out of the way.
Mhm.
And then get into that cadence, maybe.
Right, and then the operating committee can carry out some of the administrative operations.
Well, we still need to approve bills and whatnot.
Well, it depends on what our accounts payable policy winds up being.
That's true.
Well, we still have to pay bills, no matter what the policy is at this point. So if we, the next regular LASA board meeting is Monday, October 6th. Are we gonna keep that?
My suggestion would be that we have one in September, either Monday, the 15th or the 22nd. I will say, you know, for us, if we were going to try to implement cash receipting and accounts payable by October 1st, which was just a potential goal, you know, that having it Monday, September 15th would be helpful for that, Jillian. We could also do it the 22nd if that's better. Neither day, that meeting hall is available both days.
What time?
I'm flexible.
Tony had suggested 3 o'clock with 5 o'clock, 3 o'clock preferable, 5 o'clock possible.
I can meet on the 15th, I can't meet on the 22nd.
Okay.
Okay,
So if it's on the 22nd, I'm not gonna be there.
So would the 15th
The
at
15th works.
3 o'clock
Works
work
for me
or
too.
5 o'clock?
Oh.
And you as well, Jeff?
Either is fine.
15th works, 22nd, I am gone.
all right,
So
so,
it sounds like the 15th.
all right, then could we, okay, that's a Monday, right? You said?
Yes, it is.
And that would be, what do we say, 3?
Does 3 o'clock work for all?
Okay.
Great.
Well, and where are we now? We're October, no, we're August.
For August, we've
Gosh.
got to meet again on Monday in closed session, I guess, with the attorney. So
Right.
this would have us like 2.5 weeks out.
Well, I was going to suggest regarding operations, having it the week before, that would be September. Like the 5th, would it be the 5th or the 6th?
It's up to the operating committee members.
Jeff, would that be okay?
What?
The Thursday before, or what, I think it's the week, okay, we have a schedule for September 11th, if we had the operations a week before that.
Thought that was the operations.
Well, I'm suggesting that we move it so that it gives the operations 2 weeks to prepare whatever they need to, because from the 11th to the 15th is only 4 days. So that's Thursday to Monday, and that gives,
I mean, if it works for everybody, my suggestion is usually Dave would give out a year's schedule prior, and we're
Yeah.
just working, we're almost towards the end of the year. We can work with the 11th and the 15th,
I,
perfectly fine.
if you're finding out.
Till we get, get kind of some more things set, and then maybe next year have a more set schedule.
Yeah, maybe in September, we could even set a schedule for 2026.
Correct.
Dave always did it like January.
Yep.
And everything was all set. the
Yeah.
beginning, So.
I was just cognizant of just what you and Ted said about it's such, when we have, because usually it's a couple weeks in between, but there was a couple meetings where it was, we had operations and then we turned around and had board and it was a scramble.
Yeah.
But if you're fine with it, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think that'll be all right.
Okay. And then after that, October,
Yeah, can we keep our meeting in October? Does that still work for the board?
What's the date?
October 6th, Monday.
And that's October 6th at 5. Do we want to keep that at 5?
that's fine with me.
Okay.
Well,
Me too.
or, okay, or did, we have the one from at 3 o'clock. Do you like the earlier?
I like the earlier, but that's just me and I don't.
I'm fine with it.
What's
I-
your day?
Would
I
that-
can move it earlier.
You
Yeah.
can, Andrea?
Yes.
Okay.
would everybody
And
be
Mike
okay?
and Jeff?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's move 10:06 to 3 PM. And I'll update the websites.
So, this is, this is.
And then a process question for Webster, and you may not know the answer, but when it comes to kind of the loss of policies, but especially the MOU, I would really like to have, whether it's formal or not, I just want to make sure Webster has enough time to, confer with their insurance attorney, take board action if you need to. I know it's not required, but I just am cognizant that one township would be taking on responsibility for the cash of this authority. So I want to make sure that you have enough time to process it the way you want to.
So we'll put it on, our meetings the 16th, right? The regular board meeting?
16th.
So we could put it on our September 16th board meeting agenda.
Well, that makes it after the 15th.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, we have.
That's okay.
Okay, you're.
Because we could just do it pending approval, and if there's any amendments from Webster, we bring it back, yeah?
Okay, just to be clear. September 11th is ops, September 15th is a board meeting, and what are the things that we're going to talk about on those, because then they can plan.
I would
the other-
suggest J3 and J5 at minimum, but I'm sure there's more.
Okay,
We,
Potentially, we might discuss the articles again after hearing from our attorney.
And what you want, how to divide, operations and management from, policy, or how, because we got, J6 and J10.
so yeah, and that was the idea, is to, like, this board needs to kind of set forth what we want the operating committee to do. It's envisioned to have administrative responsibilities. We just need to spec out what those are.
so you want to work on all of that on the 15th, or do you want to break it up?
We can work on it all then. We can get into, some discussion about just, J6, what we want the operating committee to do, if we want to right now, if we have some time, people have bandwidth. But it's up to you,
15
Jillian.
minutes till 5 o'clock. So.
Yeah. So maybe just think about it, J6, I just kind of just started a brainstorm. I said, proposed operating committee administrative functions. Andrea, this is exactly what I had for the June 16th meeting too. Do you see it says loss of board to discuss and add more? So, those were just kind of the rolled up things. I welcome other people to add on to this.
Well, I think we're having the meeting next week. I think we should talk to our attorney about what our procedure should be for handling those and get that in place too.
Yep,
So, yeah. and
specifically
we can-
the sewer
we can talk-
backup.
Yeah,
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 let's
we
do
can
that.
talk to them then and then try to start getting that in place on what the procedure is, how it's handled when those calls come in,
Mhm.
what all of us should do when it happens.
Agreed.
Yeah, well, I have been collecting different, there's MHOG, Matt, Jane did send something to me from one of his communities. Michael, you sent an email, so I put them all into a folder.
Yeah, Amber.
Hamburg, yeah, so we could just go through all of that, create it, have Matt check it over.
Sure.
And also, we need to have one for, water main breaks, because that did happen, well, we didn't have I think we don't, I'm just thinking of, the electric car fire and how, if that was still a water issue. Yeah, yeah.
I don't want each of those.
Anyways, there's lots to do, but
Does somebody want to take the lead on those?
the,
I mean, I mean, on any of these, I mean, a draft sewer policy.
Have to hash this out together, that the people with, you know, like,
You mean like the powers and duties thing?
No, I meant the sewer backup.
Oh,
Who
yeah, yeah.
wants to come up with a draft to bring to the board for discussion?
Let's talk, I mean, we can talk to Matt first
Okay,
and see what we got. I think it's relatively simple
I do too.
doing it. And it's honestly,
We did it for SIO.
yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. You guys probably have one, even for water main spills, I'm guessing, or I mean, breaks. Yeah. Yeah.
Base Lake, basically.
Yeah, the question is, I mean, we'll have to get together the contacts of who's there,
Mhm.
what it is.
And
And how, you know, any of us, if we're contacted about it, what we're supposed to say to the people that contact us.
Mhm.
Well, it should be on the website too. You know,
It should be on the
Once it
website, it
exists.
should be,
Sure.
and I don't know if mailers go out for the billings. I
Yep.
don't know, this kind of stuff, we can put it on there, and that's where emergency numbers and stuff should be.
Right, and I also just want to say as just a point of information, because there's been a lot said about emergency numbers. I will say I did double check after our last few meetings. The emergency numbers from what I can see, have always been correct
Yeah,
on the website. So I just want to state that. And if anybody knows of if there was an incorrect number somewhere specifically, I really want us to know where that is. I don't want that to
Sure.
swirl as a
oh,
rumor.
I wasn't inferring that there was one,
No, and you weren't, but in prior meetings, that's come up, Jeff.
okay.
And so I just want to really know if.
I know I felt,
Yeah.
I've heard it from people on Loch Alpine who don't trust the emergency number. Then that's why they're going
Is
to
it the-
LAIA meetings or LAIA board.
Is it the wrong phone number? Like literally the wrong digit?
Or are they looking at an old mailer that possibly?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
But I've heard, you know, people just don't even think about that number or they don't trust it.
The 888 number?
The emergency number that F and V, who has the call center with, is that what?
Yes,
That I've called it, it works.
yeah,
Now,
I know.
there's parameters that they're given. If the person says there's a water main break, certain things are triggered emergencies, they immediately call the operators. And they'll call us and then they'll send out a text as well to give us all that information written. If they're asking about a billing question, things like that, I did find some notes in there that I had removed that were irrelevant, that somehow got triggered once or twice. But those things should be all ironed out. You know, if it's a non-emergency, actually, I gave them the billing account, the billing number, so if they call the emergency line on accident, they're supposed to direct them right to Michael.
Yep.
So this should all be
Yeah.
ironed out. If there are issues, we can change services. I can fire them.
Oh,
We
yeah,
have,
I mean, it's fine, but it's like people that have never dealt with something like that. If Tony got a call, she's never dealt with that kind of thing. So the point is for us, we need to know what those procedures are, and that's why we need to get it in place.
Jeff, would you like to work on the sewer backup policy with me?
I will,
With the board?
not that I have a ton of time, but sure.
Thank you both for doing that.
Thank you.
If that's okay with everybody.
Good with me.
Yeah.
I wanted to say not it, but.
Okay, where are we? Did we,
I think we're good. I think we got our next meeting dates and items for them.
okay, then on October sixth, if we decide to, I mean, there's a operations meeting on December 12th, but on October 6th, we can decide to add more meetings in November and December if we choose. All right,
And hopefully just get a schedule for 26.
Yep,
yes, and we have to do that yearly anyway, so that should be
Correct.
we probably should just look at that on October 6th.
sure.
Who wants
Yeah.
to draft that?
I can work on that with you, Julie, if you'd like.
Sure.
Great. And we'll be doing the board and PC meetings for 26 anyway, so.
It's almost 26 already.
John, just push these to the next meeting. It's all related, I think. Yeah, I do too.
Sure.
Okay, so.
Just for point of reference, like I brought up, do you guys send out flyers? How does the billing get handled?
It's,
Billing?
That's Wood Hill.
It's a water bill that goes out, and the last round, Michael put numbers on them prominently on the front and the
Okay.
back.
So it's a letter that goes out?
Yes.
Or the mailing, okay.
And it's on the websites, and I still have people who tell me they don't trust them, and I don't know how to get them to trust the
Oh,
numbers.
Yeah, I know.
They trusted my cell number when it was up there, cause I got,
Yeah.
we had to
I
change.
find that people trust numbers when they need them.
Yeah, no, I was just curious how that was handled.
We determine, I just need a couple of questions, sort of very general questions to myself. And we answered the one, how are bills now paid, and that's Wood Hill,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Correct. So they come into Scioto Township and Wood Hill deposits them.
And does LASA really live anywhere? Does it have an office anywhere? You said there's a computer that sits on a server.
So there's, Lassa's legal address has been 827 North Sea Road for a long, long time. There are 2 computers that are the property of well, there used to be 2, there's now 1 out at the plant computer, which SIO IT will now support as needed. As well, there used to be a billing computer, which is no more. It resides in a segregated, secure place on our server. So those are the BSNA files. In terms of all the LASA files,
Yes.
SIO has long been the custodian of the LASA files. Many of those came back from Sandy Egler's home and put in the basement. I made the mistake of going on a vacation one summer for 4 days. And during that period of time, there were about 20 boxes of files delivered from Sandy Egler's home to the water treatment plant. I still need to go get those. It's on my list.
There's
So-
also some files in a storage unit at LIIA.
If those are LASA files, we can get them together. Certainly, Tony, I have, inherited boxes and boxes. As we have time, we thin and organize. In terms of the soft files, we have our share folder, which we all, for, maybe the last 10 years of LASA files, all the meeting files and stuff like that. Yeah.
So they,
On the SIO server. Yeah.
that, okay.
Yeah, so we have most things. I think because so much of it had been done through contract,
It's just.
less standardized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we just were wondering because we were looking for documents and we had no idea if they existed, who might.
Yeah, they're here. So if anybody needs anything, let me know and I will go try to find it.
Just to be clear here, J3, J5, we did J4, J6 for the September 15th, as well as J3, J5 articles. J7,
Yeah, we were gonna push all those to the next
and
meetings.
then J9 would be for October 6th for the yearly.
Flush out
The schedule,
Schedule,
yeah.
meeting schedule. That was my understanding.
Okay. And we have covered everything else. Okay. All right, so let's, unless there's anything else?
No.
No?
I had one,
Oh,
just
sure.
a question as to, so the proposed, where did this, like the last document, did you just find that and
Yeah, that
you were
was,
going through the files or?
Yeah, and
So-
because there
It-
was
it was
questions
in,
about what are the,
What is that?
what does the
VAR's
chair,
files.
what does the secretary, what all of that, and so I found those historical,
Oh,
as I was cleaning out all the boxes that I had in my office and yeah, actually, it was really interesting to see all the names, Mass, Z, and I was like, wow, all these roads and that are named after these people that founded this community. Well, for the most part. And also, here, I'm gonna give this to you now. for later, I guess. Well,
This is.
no, never mind. I'll just include it in the future board packet when we talk about it.
What is it?
Oh, it's just Colleen Woodhill's recommendations for
Yes, I have
pay.
copies of
It
those.
goes along with Jade,
David Navarre had those copies in his
Um,
records.
one of them, J7.
Oh, and I will say too, Neil did a couple of years ago give all of his old LASA files to SIO as well. So we do have, no shortage of historical files, Tony.
Because, we had Elaine Legion,
Uh-huh.
our office assistant, we had her go through, Barbara had left a gigantic drawer full of files that apparently were just copies of minutes.
Yeah, there's a lot of, as you, I'm sure well know, as clerk, oftentimes what you're finding are copies of copies of copies of copies of copies.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So we are to public comments and we have some.
Sorry.
Any public comments for anybody here in person?
That's great. Thanks, Oscar.
All right, so now is the time for anyone that would like to speak up to 5 minutes to the LASA board on any matter. And we usually start with anybody in person, but no? Okay, we're up, anybody online?
Please raise your Zoom hand. I see none.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn at
Well moved.
4:58?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Half minute or.